Thus now, I'm going to welcome all the speakers. Please take your seat. I would like to welcome Ms. Shobha Jagatpal. She's the MD and India CISO from Morgan Stanley. Welcome, ma'am. Next, I would like to welcome Ms. Sakshi Vidur. She's the Director of Information Security, ex-Philip, ex-Yum Brands. Welcome, ma'am. I would like to welcome Mr. Clayton Jones, who's the Managing Director, Asia Pacific ISC 2. Hello,
Hello.
sir.
Hello.
Mr. Pavan Kushwaha, Founder and CEO, ThreadCorp. Hello, sir. Mr. Piyush Garg, who is the Director at Seed Chitkara University. Very warm welcome to everyone. And
We should also
Miss-
mention Arindam was here,
Yeah.
and he unfortunately had a flight to catch, because of which he has to rush because now the new mandate at the airports are making it difficult.
yeah.
So
And,
we should continue with the
Ms.
esteemed
Shobha
panel here.
is the moderator of the session. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hand back this.
Thank you very much. It's great to see some of you in the room still surviving and interested to understand the pain points of cyber workforce. But more than pain points, I think if you look at the title, all the pain points have been listed. So, what I would really want to do as part of moderating this panel discussion is to not speak about the pain points, but to see how we can all come together and eliminate or work towards minimizing the pain points that is needed for our country in terms of cyber workforce. So we will get started straight away, and I would start with requesting introductions and also helping share some insights from Sakshi. So Sakshi, if you can help introduce yourself and also share some insights with the rich experience you have in industry to let us know about how is the supply chain kind of challenges that you face in the industry at this point of time. What is that we are looking at, and what is that we can expect in future?
Sure. Thanks, Shobha, and thank you, DSCI, for this wonderful opportunity. And by way of introduction, I'd say that I love building a variety of security programs or being in the thick of an incident. It comes with its own excitement, whichever part of cybersecurity that you're dealing with. But yeah, I love working with my team, brainstorming with my team to come up with ideas and keep up to date with security professionals like yourselves and the news updates and the new technologies as well. So overall, I have 20 years of work experience, and I'm in transition. I just exited out of my last company, that was Philips, which is into healthcare technology. Coming to your question and the topic, Shobha, definitely the demand for cybersecurity professionals is increasing, and definitely we can see that basis the latest reports, there is a huge shortage of skill sets. The numbers that I'm reading are somewhere around 3 global numbers on the unfulfilled positions in cybersecurity is around 3.5 million by the next year. And and this will continue to increase because there is definitely the number and the sophistication of cyber attacks has gone to a different magnitude, has definitely is continuing to grow. So, given that we are in a digital economy and the cyber measures, the requirements are definitely changing. So, this shortage is definitely driving the demand for qualified cybersecurity professionals. And to meet this demand, the organizations are looking for a range of skill sets. So on the technical side, there's requirement for network security, for data security, for system analytics, and to be able to interpret that data, to be able to analyze that data, and then effectively communicate this to the non-technical stakeholders. That is another skill set that is, I feel, required, and definitely to work as a team. So those are the kind of skill sets that are required. Um, uh, and to meet this growing demand, and the companies are looking at, this is across industries actually, not just the technical and the IT industry, but definitely across the healthcare industry, across the financial services, and the government industry as well. So the demand is definitely shooting up for qualified cybersecurity professionals.
Thanks, Akshay. I really like the point which conveyed. It's not just the demand with respect to cyber skills. It's also about working together as a team, right? So no matter what skills we acquire, it's important for all of us to work together within our own firms and also, I believe, outside of our firm. So very well said. So Clayton, I'll move on to you. So we would again start with a little introduction about yourself. And what I would like to hear from you is to help us understand on what ISC2 is doing in terms of community engagements. How is it helping various, I would say, professionals who are interested to choose cybersecurity as their field? What kind of offerings are available and how you are encouraging to join hands there?
And that's a very nice question, Shobha. Thank you so much. And also thank you to DSCI for the invitation. I'd like to participate in this panel. So my name is Clayton Jones, and I'm the Managing Director for the APAC region with ISC Squared. I've been with ISC Squared for a very, very long time. At that time, even DSCI was not set up. I mean, so it goes back that long. With regards to ISC Squared, I mean, most of you would know us by the CISSP certification. So we are a global not-for-profit membership association. We now are at around 280,000 members globally. And our mission and vision is to inspire a safe and secure cyber world. How we do that is we engage with government, we engage with industry to identify what their needs are in terms of resources, in terms of manpower resources, in terms of skill sets that would enable them to secure information and their systems. We then take that and we try to fulfill that need through certification and education. When we look at so when we look at certification, it's more about trying to actually provide a certain level of validity with regards to the skill set that an individual has and how it applies to the job that they would have been tasked to perform. We also conduct the workforce study, and I think the number you had quoted of 3.4 million gap is from that workforce study. In APAC, it's around 2.1 million. Around 1,400,000 is the gap is from China. India is around 560,000. So these are the two largest workforce gaps that we see globally. And this is despite that actually last year close to around 500,000 professionals had entered, the cybersecurity space. To your question as to what ISC Squared is doing to try and help address the gap, this year we launched a new certification. It's called the Certified in Cybersecurity, and it is aimed basically at those that are looking to enter the profession. So if we are looking at, so it's more at a fundamental level, compared to the CISSP. Which is which requires close to around 5 years of work experience. And in addition, what we've also done is we are actually giving away 1 million free exam seats and training to individuals that want to go and get, the CC certification. It's called the 1 million CC. Half of that is being earmarked for I would say the minority communities or those groups that are not really well represented. So women in trying to encourage more women to get into security. Those working moms who are moving back into the workforce, trying to actually provide reskilling. So those are some of the engagements that we have that we've launched this year, and it was actually launched in September, and as of today, close to around 50,000 have already registered for the CC exam, and I think around 22,000 have taken the exam so far. So we hope, rather than just talk about the workforce gap, through this initiative, we are able to take intentional efforts and collaborate with the community, to actually grow the ecosystem. I guess I'll stop at that, or else I will just continue.
Oh, that's fantastic. 1 million CC certification. I'm not sure how many of you actually paid attention to it. So I am definitely reaching out to you. So I hope I get some portion of it for sure. So that's great to hear and fantastic. And also one thing I want to add on top of it that I am personally aware of, I know there are many such large initiatives going on. Karnataka COE is also kind of pioneering in implementing the new education policy. So we recently worked together to come up with a cyber security course for diploma grads. So I think the ones who are going through the final year this year, I'm going to take a portion of 1 million share over there. Thank you so much. That's very insightful. So I think that's a nice segue to you, Pavan. I think I would request you to again introduce yourself and help us understand how we can bridge the gap between the academia and the industry. I know you are a living example with your own work. So if you can share some insights on it, it would be very beneficial for all of us.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Sobha. And thank you, DSCI, for this opportunity. Just to give a brief background what exactly we do. So we have a brand called ThreatCorp. We help people protect their organization. So basically we are in security awareness and majorly defending the enterprises from social engineering attacks that is happening predominantly. So basically if you look at the data, 90% of the attacks or more than 90 to 95% of the attacks are actually happening because some employees negligence or they do not know when to click and where to click. And obviously you cannot expect a finance guy or sales guy to understand cybersecurity on that level that they can analyze. So we help you with the set of products that we have, which include autonomous hacker, which actually simulate different kind of threats, which is right now happening across the world, so that you can actually map yourself where you stand right away. Not only this, but you can also identify what kind of breach time you have, how quickly you can be hacked, what are the reasons why it's happening. The other part is you can also build an employee profile and all those things right in the dashboard. You can also run specifically crafted training materials such as comics, games, your normal 1-minute videos, and obviously traditional video. We have thousands of videos in the library which can be utilized, especially on that side. Now, coming back to the question that Shobha has asked, and it's very much important. There's one more thing that I just wanted to disclose. My transformation is actually on this question itself because I actually did BTech in biotechnology. And I'm a cybersecurity specialist, by the way. So that's a different thing. So I obviously can help you out, understand how this can be gapped. So what happened so far is while I was in the college, I obviously got a good rank in AIEEE, but because of the rural area that people belong to, I didn't have access to computer till 12th class, just to let you guys know. So I picked up my branch as like A for Allahabad and B for biotechnology. That's the way my counseling was done. I'd get a chance in third round to change my branch because my rank was good in AIEEE. So my father said that you always top the class, just top it here and then change the way that you wanted to do that. When the first exam that I took, that exam was in English. Again, I am come from a Hindi background, so forget about what I can do so far. So my aspiration was to work with computers, okay? To work and do something with computers itself. Now, when you know that so one is obviously you get a branch and then you cannot jump. So what you really will have to do that. And meanwhile, this incident happened, like my email account got hacked and all those things. So what I did is parallelly, just to let you guys know, that while I was studying biotech, although I never failed, I passed with a good marks in biotech as well. But I parallelly started working and studying at least 2 to 3 hours of computer science along with my co-founder, which is Parathos Bansal. So I started talking about security, looking at what exactly is being happening. And that's what we really need to realize. So when you go to an institute, it's not for only for the bookish education that we are going in. It's also for the culture, it's also for the environment, it's also for the connections that you make as an alumni, and it's also for a different kind of experience when you get to the PS, or you learn a lot of things. Now, to bridge this gap, what could be done so far within industry and academia, and then we try to do it a lot, especially in our organization as well. What we do is we generally try to hire or tend to hire from the colleges, which has 6-month waiver for their students. So we obviously pay them well for the people who actually get to our organization, but we want those 6 months to understand and also to train that guy on what technology we are working on. Generally, the other part is, I obviously would have said that, okay, we change curriculum and all those things, but that's not even feasible. You have some technology which is viable today. After 4 years, you will find a different technology which is much superior. And we have a course for 4 years in BTech. So I think the way we should look at is to have a program for all the colleges or institutes, to have a program which is like linked with corporates, and let the people work in the corporate for last 1 year of time that you have. So that they not only gain exposure of how the technology works, they will also gain an exposure how the business works, how the organization functions, and that's where they actually can put up a lot of value. And that's where I feel that there's a lot of value addition that can be done for both the side. Like from an organization standpoint, they will get a very clear-cut people. Okay, these are the 5 people that I choose from out of 10 people, and the rest 5 people can do whatever they want to do. And while as the institute can have this as in separate internship, or they can mark them based on the work they did in the organization. So that's something I feel that can be done instead of changing the curriculum. And obviously, it's very much required because it's been so evolved and all these things. But the practicality is very important. Now, second thing that has been happening and the people are doing is COEs, Center of Excellence. So the people are trying to put up a cybersecurity Center of Excellence. We used to have an interdisciplinary Center of Excellence in NIT Allahabad, where the equipments, like they have a best class of equipment in the world. Fortunately, we had a supercomputer, so I worked actually on supercomputer. So it's a different kind of level that you can actually go and provide a kid who has actually wanted to build up a career or a business, especially in that field. So these are some of the things that can be done to bridge the gap. So I'll just stay. I think I've taken much more time. So thank you so much for the question. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Pawan. I knew that you were a living example in having campus grads and the mentors working together in your own organization. But you are another living example where you spoke about if you have the will, if you have the desire to do something big, you will definitely get it done. So it's great to have you in the panel. So I think that's a nice segue to Piyush as well. You know, you need no introduction. Everyone is aware of Chitkara here. If someone says that I'm not aware, I think there's definitely something we will have to pay attention to. So Piyush, Chitkara, I feel from what I've read and understood is game changer for now. So it was really fantastic to see your campus students being here all through the, I would say, conference for all these days. So help us understand what is that you are bringing in, that entrepreneurship skills in the students, which will help them to be industry ready.
Definitely. Thank you. So first of all, I would like to thank DSCI and all the stakeholders who have come together to carry out this wonderful and give this wonderful opportunity to all of us. And I thank my co-panel members for sharing the views. To start with, just with a basic introduction, I am currently the Vice President with Chitkara University, heading the Center for Entrepreneurship, Education and Development. Prior to this, I have worked with ministry, I have worked with a lot of large corporations. I have spent almost like 2 decades. I was the Chief Operating Officer with Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, heading the National Center for Data Analytics, IoT and Machine Learning. Okay. Now, I've worked with close to 1,700 startups with over a valuation of $1.7 billion. Now, when we say about the initiatives which we have taken in Chitkara University, and you actually highlighted the importance of NEP, you also highlighted the importance of COEs, right? What we have done as a university who understood the importance of meeting the demand-supply gap for the cyber workforce, Way back in 2017 itself, we rolled out this policy, and we have been on every year basis, annually, we have been training close to 300 to 400 students on different skills of cybersecurity, right from second year onwards. So from second year onwards, they can pick up their own electives, which they are willing to work on. Third year onwards, they can actually get trained on these courses. Fourth year onwards, in the final year of their education, they can be part of the industry, or they can actually set up their own venture and can have the complete waiver of that. So what my co-panel member was just highlighting as one of the desirables, we have been doing this from 2017 onwards. So the main idea behind bringing in 60 or 65 odd volunteers here, these are upcoming entrepreneurs, to have them the exposure of the cybersecurity world, to connect them with CISOs, to understand what it means to actually have that in their entrepreneurial or the new ventures, why it is so important for them. Now, whenever we talk about this industry-academia divide, I'll just take this one point forward. This has always been there. I actually had the privilege of being part of two eminent institutions of both IIT Delhi and IIM Calcutta. And I can actually say that whenever this kind of a terminology is used, it will always be there. I personally foresee this as a pyramid which has 4 different layers. Apex research institutions, entrepreneurial innovation and adaptation, then we talk about the industries, and then the academic institutions. If you see that this is the vertical pyramid which has always been into existence. Now, what is the fastest possible approach? What we at Chitkara University personally foresee is that we, instead of actually transitioning one step at a time, we can collaborate with the apex research institutions, promote entrepreneurship, and then provide the workforce to the industry. That is the fastest possible way, and that is how we are doing it at Chitkara University.
Oh, fantastic. I think this also reminds me of one of the points Dr. Pawar shared yesterday, wherein public, private, and academia has to work together to bring in the change. And I think the eminent panel here are already marching towards it, and I'm hoping that your dream will come true soon. It's not going to take us long if all of us join hands and work together. Thank you so much. With that, I will come back to Sakshi. So Sakshi, a small question for you. So you spoke about the skills and working together as a team, how important it is. So going back to the efforts that are happening, so what is your view on how integrated these efforts are, and what options do we have to kind of bring things together to build a good cyber security workforce in India, which will kind of help us meet the demands and the supply asks? Yeah.
No, absolutely, Shobha. Thanks for bringing up this very important topic and this question. And I feel like DSCI and all of its participants, we need to come together to work on 2 big areas, which is capacity building and skill development. And that can be done in 2 ways, the tactical way and the strategic way. So let me touch upon the tactical way first, that, and on the tactical side, there's already a lot of work being done. I would not definitely, say that, but yeah, the courses, the trainings, the certifications, the formal platforms, on the tactical front, those need to be brought up at all levels, so not just for the entry level, students and the workforce, but also for the leadership level, also for, for entrepreneurs. So that's where I feel that's one area. Then I feel, on the strategic side, I think the government and the industry, like it's already been talked about earlier, we need to also work on assessing and identifying the cybersecurity skill gap. That, okay, yeah, where is the skill gap and how do we need to address it? How do we make it more robust? How do we make it more diverse? Somebody touched upon this point earlier, and I'm definitely very passionate about it and a very strong advocate of the diversity and inclusion aspect as well. So some of the initiatives I feel to improve the cybersecurity skill gap is to be able to provide cybersecurity as a viable career option. And I'm very happy to see the efforts that are already in place, but we need to definitely, we can take more initiatives on that front to reduce this gap in the skill force. So the overall goal, like you said, is definitely, to be able to build the cybersecurity force to, to protect the critical infrastructure and the sensitive data in our country.
Thanks. So, Clayton, I have a following question on you. So, I think you have a local view and a global view. Can you throw some light on how we can take it at a global level?
So, in terms of
In terms of building the cyber workforce and giving your experience at the global level. Yeah.
right, I mean, so it's what Dr. Power had mentioned yesterday. It actually takes collaborative effort, because each one has a role to play. That's like I said, that's a given. The other thing is, even with organizations, I mean, they need to be a bit realistic with regards to their expectations. So you don't want to, steal from Peter to pay Paul, because that's what's happening in in the industry right now. I mean, so you've done research, and we see that more and more organizations are beginning to build their own pool. So, when you're looking at diversification, so it's not only about someone who, say, has a computer science degree or has a degree in cybersecurity. In fact, there are very few institutions that offer degrees in cybersecurity, because if you look at the profession itself is not very old. But the rate of technology and the adoption of technology and the the pervasiveness of technology has made the need for cybersecurity to really grow exponentially. So just relying on, say, someone that has a cybersecurity degree to come and enter the organization, I mean, I think that's a bit unrealistic. So organizations need to look at the aptitude, look at individuals that have after that have an analytical mindset, are creative, have a certain level of critical thinking. More importantly, have a passion to learn, because with cybersecurity, it's not, like our MBA. I mean, I didn't realize we passed out from the same institute. But what have we done after that? Right? I mean, you can't do that with cybersecurity, because what you learn today and, tomorrow it's changed. So that passion for constant learning is very important. I think that's where, if organizations identify some of those key areas and invest in the individual, they will also stay, because they know that they can grow with you. So I think that is one of the key areas. And from a global perspective, I would say government plays a very, very important role. I mean, there are, there are a lot of programs, say like in Singapore. I mean, they have no natural resource. I mean, the only resource they have is human capital, and perhaps that's why they've invested a lot in the development of skills. And it's about, trying to bridge the gap, working with educational institutions, ensuring that during their study, they have the option to experience corporate life, so that when they come out, they are able to immediately contribute, rather than wait for 2 years to learn on the job and then begin that contribution. So that's one. And in fact, so I was looking at Cyber Shiksha, I mean, which is again a very excellent program, because you are so you're targeting women. I mean, the number of women in cybersecurity is a very, very small percentage. And there are also certain attributes that we would put to women. We shouldn't be saying that, but there are certain skills that actually would be very valuable in the cybersecurity profession. So also reducing those barriers and having programs to actually allow more women to come into the profession. With the gig economy, it's becoming a lot more easier to happen. So these are some of the areas, that we see happening both globally and also, out here in India too, with the COEs.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. I definitely like the point you spoke about Cyber Shiksha, right? So I think we have the grads, specifically diversity professionals who are available through Cyber Shiksha programs. So the leaders who are here please look out and offer them, I would say, internship or bring them into your own firms is the request I have with respect to it. So I'll go to Piyush because you both graduated from the same school. So Piyush, what are some of the tactical and strategic engagements that you foresee, specifically focusing on Chitkara University for building the cyber workforce?
So as I shared that, because this is a very important point which we touched based, and just for the benefit of the audience, one strategic initiative was that before this panel actually began, we actually engaged with a couple of co-panel members and opened up new world of opportunities, which I think will be very beneficial in building the cyber workforce. Now, the key, when you mention strategical and tactical initiatives, we are actually already doing these things since 2017, as I shared in my last answer. Now, what we are doing as a separate initiative is that we are actually collaborating with NCOEs, both at central level and at state level. We also are providing the awareness to the end students and to the upcoming entrepreneurs on how state governments, central governments, and different large organizations are driving different initiatives which can be highly beneficial for them. So that when the student is in the third year of their curriculum, as Clayton also highlighted, that they should be industry ready. So they are already working on those things. We have already partnered it with Certain. We have already collaborated with CISA institutions. We are working with them. We are providing the hands-on experience to our students. So when they are actually getting the reports from Certain, how they can actually work on an innovative solutions to provide an immediate and a short-term and a long-term solutions to the industries. They are already being given the flavor of that. They are being provided with the training so that they not just come out as graduates, but industry-ready professionals and founders and innovators in ventures to provide these solutions to the industries. So that's how we are doing it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I think that directly leads to Pawan. So you spoke about ventures, and I know you are very passionate about the venture aspects of it. So can you share your experience on what is the quality level of experience that you have seen with cyber professionals whom you meet in the venture space, startup space?
So you mean to say the companies who are actually being founded in cybersecurity or in generic?
So in general, when you are approaching the venture capitalists who want to invest in cyber specific products or projects, how do you feel is the skill set and the level over there? Are they ready to kind of be absorbed? Are they doing good? Do you feel that they have gaps in terms of understanding on the cyber technology, those spaces? What's your take on it?
Okay, so there are two kind of VC firms when we talk about venture capitalists. One is they exactly know what cybersecurity is. The other is forming a small endless team of understanding what cybersecurity can be and what they're looking at. So there are a lot of big VC firms. So previously, I recall a discussion with one of the big VC firm, I think back in 2016 or 17, when I was just pitching them up. So the guy says, I don't know what cybersecurity is. Literally, and like they recently invested in 3 companies in cybersecurity itself. So although he's now become a good friend of mine, but he was saying that we don't want to invest in cybersecurity. The other part is what some of the things that has happened in the industry, which is bad, because cybersecurity is glorified as an individualistic capacity. So we have like cybersecurity stars and all those things, which sometimes has created a problems. While as what we should have done it is an actual industry, something which is going on AI, data science, or any other industry. So they're like I said, there are 2 firms. One is they exactly know what cybersecurity is. Other is they do not know. Now the people who know cybersecurity, they are well equipped. They have much more data when we go pitch them. For example, I just wanted to share that. For anyone who's here, who's building cybersecurity company or going to build a cybersecurity company, there's a very clear-cut data that if you want to start with one product, try to build the next product as soon as possible. Because your company's 40% revenue is going to be given by the existing customer that you have, that you're going to sell. And this is not Indian data, it's a global firm who invests a lot in cybersecurity. So when I was just having a conversation with them, then they mentioned this, that generally the companies, and that's how it's been happening. So even in the US, the consolidation has started to happen. So they buy the firms and they sell those firms in like products or whatever they have to the existing users that they have. Because it's a B2B selling, it's account-based selling whenever we talk about cybersecurity. It's obviously the business of putting up such certifications and all those things are B2C. But generally when you sell a software, you're going to sell it to majority into the B2C side. So we have to have those things. So one is, like I said, these people who has an understanding of cybersecurity, they have those skills, or they go through a lot of things over the period of time. Or maybe they are already a founder of security company who has made an exit and then become a VC. The other is, obviously, it's very much needed. So I think I can just say from my experience, almost 75% of the VC firms in India are still lacks on a security capability. So when you talk about them, they can talk finance. So as long as your pitches have finance, business, and subscription models, like the revenue models, you're done. But as soon as you go to a tech side, they are kind of off on that line. So generally they decide right now on the basis of how good company is, what kind of growth you have, what kind of revenue metrics you have, but they do not go to the core technology side. And that's why we have very less stealth startup in cybersecurity, unless there's being funded majorly on that line.
Got it. So I think one point I would take away from it is that sometimes it's important not to treat cybersecurity as a separate aspect itself. It should be like what we breathe, right? We breathe day in and day out and we don't recognize it. So probably cybersecurity should be imbibed in everything that we do on a day-to-day basis, whether it is with respect to the business or an application that is being developed, a startup or academia, whatever it is, right? Cybersecurity should not be a separate I would say a wing or a division or a department by itself. It has to be integrated, embedded for it to evolve together. Oh, that's a fantastic message I take away. Thank you. So I think with that, I would want to thank all the eminent panel members. It's been a great learning for me to kind of learn what you all have been accomplishing. And then I also want to thank DSAI for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session. Not just this session moderation, I think I've got an excellent opportunity in last 2 days to kind of meet so many leaders and understand what they do and figure out opportunities to collaborate and work together with them to help build a better cybersecurity workforce for our country. I also want to thank my firm who gave me time to come over here and meet all of you and the eminent panel members and various leaders who have come here for the conference. Before closing, I would probably open it up for audience to ask 1 or 2 questions. Yeah, I think we have someone over there. So, if I understand, you're asking how do we engage the employees with respect to demand and supply so that we don't lose them. So I would open it up to all the panel members who would like to go with it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll give a quick perspective from my experience. So I think it requires a lot of structured effort in probably forming an employee resource group and a dedicated steercom that can drive this initiative, tie up with HR to come up with ways to attract and retain talent within the company across all levels, publish the data that, where there is a gap, what kind of people are leaving, at what stage they are leaving, and, bring out that in black and white to the management, and then accordingly establish goals that, okay, yeah, this is the way we are going to kind of show the growth in the retention efforts. And then, of course, a lot of engagement initiatives can be taken up by that ERG that is set up. So like an employee resource group or a team that is taking on this responsibility to do, with the online events, there's so much you can do at a global level. And I'm talking this from my experience at Yum Brands and at Philips. We've done great efforts out there to conduct events at a global level, inviting people from all different cultures, all, diverse backgrounds to see how do we kind of retain talent. And I'll pass it on to others to add.
Yeah. So I can take this.
Yeah, just career development is the other thing that I missed adding. Show them a career development path. But
yeah, so basically we run our, like all the people in our company are cybersecurity people. And we have a very good retention rate, touch wood, as of now. I don't think so the employees are seeing it, but we have a very good retention rate. There are multiple things that we do. One of the things that we encourage people, so we really have to look at what is the motivation of the people. One is obviously the salary part that we really have to take care of. But even after 4 years, so touch wood, like in our case, the people have exceeded 4 years of time on some of the people. So one is the salary component. If you're done with that salary component, let's just go to the next step. The next is what she was mentioning is career path, and which is brilliant step. What we did is we have offered them a free certificate. Either they can go for CSA, CISP, or whatever it is, which is being funded by the organization itself. With obviously certain condition or what has to be done. But we give them a clear-cut way of what exactly you can do and what makes you next thing in the do. The other part is we also look for what is new happening in cybersecurity. So if anything comes up as a new thing, we actually try to engage them because they are getting dormant with the existing work that they're doing on a continuous basis. So if you engage them on a innovation side, so one is obviously the career path that you can just provide. Apart from this, try to give anything which is very new and that they love to do or they enjoys to do. So for example, in our case, we have tasked them, so we're building a VMDR, Vulnerability Detection and Management Response. So our security testing team and the compliance team that we have, is their job to reduce our manual efforts on testing our infrastructure or testing customer infrastructure by 70%. Now, it's their job to research and come up with the solution, and then we reward them based on what exactly they're doing. So it's just letting them experiment whatever they want to do, and obviously keeping them, make sure that they're getting a good, right salary at the right time. So, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to understand, how do you build the cyber warriors? So those warriors must work for the nation. They should not work for the, like some of the companies like us, we pay happily, as you told, and then they go there. How do you motivate them to bring work for the nation? As somebody has rightly given the example of 2 nations, where you can find out they have built a huge cyber warriors, and they have been, and India need to build that front and take them into account. So that is actually how we build those kind of cyber workforce.
So this is an important point which you have actually touched base, and this is, and I'm really happy to once again refer that prior to this panel, we were actually once again having the discussion on the similar lines, and I'm really happy that your question is a testament to the importance of how critical it is that we create a cyber workforce which is actually not only working for the elite group but also working for the masses as well. I think that's the point which you are trying to raise, right? So what we are trying to do is that, so the students, right from the time of beginning, and just to also add to the point, upskilling and reskilling is something which is very important. And I think all the panel members would agree that none of us are actually from the original background of cybersecurity, right? So it's always very important that we continuously upskill ourselves, reskill ourselves, so that we remain relevant. Now, coming to the important point that when we are working as an learning individual or as an upcoming entrepreneur or as an upcoming venture, we continue to deliver to the lesser privileged people or to the lesser privileged organizations who have to have an understanding and importance of why it is important to have a cyber security, right? Because these small companies or small individuals, groups of individuals, would ultimately be the part or the ancillary units for the larger units. Till the time they don't understand the importance of it. So it's a matter of survival. It's a very critical element that they should also be part of the inclusive learning agenda. Okay, so we are actually already doing that, and I'm really glad to share with you that Shobha ma'am also shared that Morgan Stanley is also doing that as a part of a technology philanthropy, right? So
my question is, suppose you are building a cyber warrior, he must know what is cryptanalysis. He should not know CISSP,
right,
which is very basic. Okay, I did a PhD, I understand what is a cryptanalysis.
So,
he must know the details of the security in depth, and you should understand how actually to do the reverse analysis
So I think that is very technical aspect. So I think we can continue the conversation.
No, actually, this gentleman has touched very
Clayton.
nicely.
Yeah, so I would request to have an offline conversation on that. The panel members are available for some more time to
so
help you answer.
we can discuss offline.
Sure, thank you so much.
Offensive security and defensive.
We'll discuss.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
So basically, yeah. So there are two parts to it.
Discuss
Sure, sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for understanding. So with that, I would close the panel. Yeah, I would kind of help take your all, I would say, consent to close this panel discussion. But it's just a panel discussion closure. We can continue to have the conversations offline. We are all available. And thank you for being here. This itself shows that you are really committed to do something for building the cyber workforce in India. Thank you.
Thank you
panel
so much,
members.
Shobha ma'am, and all the panelists for such an insightful and encouraging session. And I would like you to wait 2 minutes so that we can distribute this speaker mementos. I would like to welcome Mr. Rahul Mishra. He's from Chitkara University, Director Strategic Initiatives. Sir, please come on stage.